Of course the dog will start barking. Welcome to Unscripted Gaming, the E3 2021 edition. Felix is right on time with the barking. I don't know what he's barking at. There are fireworks going off. We're recording this on Juneteenth. Actually, no. Anna just walked through the door. All right.
It also
Josh.
I may have forgotten how to press buttons and make the intro roll, and we might have had to abort a start 2 or 3 times already. So yeah, we're doing it's all systems go over here.
This is a professional podcast,
Yes,
damn it.
professional podcast run by professionals for professionals.
Absolutely. Josh, how you doing?
Ray, I got a glass of Maker's 46 here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Juneteenth,
It is.
which is now a federal holiday.
First
Officially?
time. This is a federal
Yep.
holiday, yeah.
So E3 just happened.
It did.
There was some news, so I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I have a snifter cup full of Zinfandel.
Ooh.
Also Juneteenth, the first time at House Hazlip. And I think that's the first time I said my last name on the podcast. Well, go for broke. But for this beautiful day, let's talk about what happened during E3. You know what? I don't even want to bury the lead.
Well,
Let's
wait,
not.
wait. Just so
No,
everybody knows. P.S.
Okay.
You may be seeing that Mike is not here with us. He is
Oh
going to be
yeah.
a little brief hiatus for good old Mike. His kindergarten has been officially born into the world as of a few days ago. So, Mom, Mike, and kindergarten are all doing well. But they are at home hanging out as a little family. So, like I said, Mike will be on a little hiatus, making it in when he can, just like when the baby Metroid and then the other baby Metroid were born for me. Which, if you want to use that as a segue, Ray. Speaking of baby Metroids,
We can use that as a segue. Also, well wishes to Mike and his new family, which has expanded. But yes, speaking of baby Metroid, Nintendo drops a nuclear bomb to the community. They not only did Nintendo say we have a new Metroid game, that wasn't enough. Not only did they say, you know what, we're not even going to talk about Prime. We're going to talk about Metroid 5. They decided it was a thermonuclear bomb and said, it is Metroid Dread, by the way. And then they showed this beautiful trailer, which I'll probably play in the background, and that'll probably, like, instantly demonetize us. Josh, it lives. Metroid Dread lives. It is Metroid 5 in the Nintendo Treehouse interview with Sakamoto, who, if you guys don't know, is part of the creators of the Metroid series. He has been on just about every Metroid game that isn't Prime. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm correct in that one. Everyone that isn't Prime, I think up to and including the first one. He said, this is it. This is the last one in the series. In the Metroid series, this game is going to tie it all up in a neat little bow. Any other Metroid games after this will occur somewhere in the game, in the canon after this game. Josh, I'm gonna need your thoughts as the Metroid Man 1352.
So many things. First
Okay.
off, the way they talk about, this is the final iteration in the 5-part series of Metroid. Like, come on now, you did not know 30-something years ago that this was going to be a 5, quote unquote, 5-part series. So you're playing a little bit there, but it's fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been clamoring for a Fusion, follow up for a long time now. So we're happy to see it.
Man, it's been. They kept saying this too. 19 years ago is when Fusion came out. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Please go ahead. That keeps taking me back.
Yeah, it's been 19 years since any Metroid game has been released.
Well, that's not true. That's
Shh.
that.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But if you'd have told me, in like 2006, when a lot of the stuff around the supposed Metroid Dread or the Metroid Prime 1.5 or like all of the rumors that came around this supposed project and what it was and like the different iterations and where they thought it was going to fall, like that someday they would go ahead and find a way to repurpose even just that name or that idea and put that into a game, I would not have believed you. I had also fully well expected to go through this entire E3 without a lick of Metroid Prime 4 news, which technically I did not get.
You got not one single word about that game. As a matter of fact, it's almost like they went out of their way to make sure no one talked about it. They're like, the distraction. Here's this other one over here. Please look at that.
Uh, conspiracy theory. They made Metroid 5 so they don't have to talk about Metroid Prime 4.
That's a solid conspiracy theory.
But
it is not unbelievable because when they announced the studio, Retro Studios was taking it over, they probably got a message from Retro saying like, okay, this is how long it's going to take us to make this game. And Nintendo's like, Sakamoto, come here. You got 2 years.
What you got, buddy?
Make a 2D one happen.
Hey,
Put it on the Switch.
Remember that Metroid Dread you talked about a while ago? Pull the trigger.
Get that out there.
Make it happen.
I don't know how much of the trailer footage or the Nintendo Treehouse footage you watched, Josh, but they showed that you're being constantly hunted by these specific robots called EMI drones. They don't give you a lot of details about them. All they know is that if they actually catch Samus, it's a one-hit kill and you have to go back to your last save point or something like that. Or like there are certain checkpoints that you have to go back to if you get caught. Because it's very much more of a horror game in like, you know how Metroid games are inspired by the Alien series.
Yeah. And that's that's very in line with the Fusion game. You're kind of always got that sense of the Dark Samus, the SAX Samus, like that god-awful embodiment of your former armor is chasing you around fully powered and just looking to kill you. So that in the sense of like, okay, this is supposed to be a sequel and a follow-up to Metroid Fusion, that's kind of keeps in theme with what occurred in that game. So I can see that.
Yeah. Sakamoto had said that this game they tried to make before and they felt like the technology just wasn't there to fully realize it. I don't know if that was necessarily 100% true. Like, what I saw in the trailer did not make me think like, yeah, this was impossible to do 10 years ago. It's like, I don't know about all that. Is it like the AI tech just wasn't smart enough? I don't know. But we have a message from Mike. His exact words, dispatch from Mike. I can't believe the Metroid fam is finally eaten. And Nintendo went all out. They changed their Twitter and their Facebook handle. They changed their profile pic to Samus. They changed their header to remind you of the exact release date, which is October 8th of 2021. So it's this year. It's in it's in 4 months. Ooh,
yeah, it's not long.
They're gonna make that. They might make that. We'll see.
I will say I feel like Nintendo has been doing this for like a year or two now, where they'll just be like, "Hey, check out this game. Oh, by the way, it launches in like, 8 weeks. Get ready." Which I'm all about. But I will say it's like I feel like they heard all of the fan backlash when like, oh hey, we did takeovers for Mario and all the Zelda and all these other like big anniversaries, and then when Metroids comes around, it's like, oh, maybe they tweeted out a hey, it's her birthday. So for them to really go full like just go in on it, it's very exciting to see that they might also be because they don't really have a lot of other else coming up this year, so they had to get behind something. But hey, I'll take what I can get at this point. It's been 19 years.
It's been 19 years since they were very specific about that. It's been 19 years since the last 2D Metroid game
Numbered
that is
Metroid.
new. That is new to the series. We're not going to look at the other 2D Metroid game that was new. That wasn't new because Samus Returns is a remake. I guess they don't count that. And yeah, I guess if you want to be like exactly absolutely fair, yes, Samus Returns is a good remake. It's better than the Game Boy iteration in literally every way imaginable.
But it's
Because
not better than the fan remake that it was competing with at the time.
it is not better than AM2R. I am so sorry, but AM2R is special, especially the way you kill that Queen Metroid and the way Samus like crunches down and
Yep.
AM2R is a treat.
It is,
That's special.
And I will say, I think if if you were to say let's put Samus Returns on the Switch, I think it would be better. But like that game with that console and that thumbstick, it just makes it so hard to control. You know, there's something there, but like when you put it on that console and then you put it up against AM2R, it doesn't compare. And obviously,
No.
Other M came out, in that span as well, but we try not to talk about that.
We could spend another podcast just talking about the failures of Other M, but we shouldn't do that. We should talk about the other Nintendo titles that came out. How about that?
Well, we should do that podcast, but just not here. That's
not here. Yes, I would.
You know me, I can always rant about Other M.
A 10-year anniversary breakdown of the 10-year anniversary of Other M. I think that's either this year or was it last year? I'll have to double check and look it up. I thought it came out. I thought it came out in October 2011.
You might be right.
Josh,
I was in college at the time, and I was a junior, 8, 9, so it might be 11, yeah. And I remember this because I remember in my dorm room, I finished the game. I knew there was post-mission stuff. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Hit the button, ejected the disc, put it in the case, closed that disc, immediately got in my car and went to GameStop and said, I'm done.
That is one of the few Metroid games I don't have in my collection because I did the same thing. I actually 100% of it. It didn't take long. It's not that good of a game.
It's very bad. It's very bad.
I wanted to 100% it, so I never had a reason to ever play it again. Like, no, thank you. Why don't we talk about a good game? Advance Wars 1 and 2 is getting a remaster on the Switch. That's great. It's being done by WayForward. That's excellent news. I see nothing but a win here.
I can't. Again, things I wasn't expecting for 500. Alex, pour some out. But like, you'd have told me like going into this E3, we were ever going to see even a remaster of Advance Wars again, let alone just anything in the franchise period. Like, I would have said no. But I also believe that putting this out is just them, testing the waters for a new property. Like, you don't put out a remaster like this if you're not trying to gauge interest in putting out a new property, in my opinion.
I mean, they absolutely should make a new Advance Wars. The last Advance Wars that was released, Days of Ruin, that was like, it had the mechanics of Advance Wars, but it was like a very much, post-apocalyptic war is hell. It's like, all right, guys, this is actually not why I play these games. Maybe tone it down a second. May scale that back. Can we go back to Dual Strike? Dual Strike was fun.
Can we thread that line a little better there?
Yeah, it's a fun little war game. Yes, war is awful. Thank you. I don't need reminded of that. What happened to the colorful little soldiers that we're sending to stomp on cities to symbolize capture again? That was fun. Go back to that. What about the fat little bombers that are just like bumblebeeing through the air? I want more of that. The cute little scout. The cute little scout cars that shoot 50 cal bullets at the cute little toy soldiers. That's fun. That's great.
And they and then explode or whatever, and
they pop off the screen like, oh no! Like, yeah, guys, Advance Wars isn't supposed to be serious. Like Days of Ruin.
I'm like, ooh!
Like I'm gonna spoil Days of Ruin. The final boss is killed by a pistol shot to the gut in Days of Ruin. Like that was a Game Boy. That was a Nintendo DS game. Like calm it the hell down. Goodness gracious. It was a lot. We don't have to talk about that. I want the new Advance Wars 1 and 2 to do good. I've been looking forward to that. I've been playing Wargroove on the side, so this will satiate my love of that type of tactics game. All right, well, another
So
thing that
real
happened.
quick,
Go ahead.
I don't know because I've been trying to catch up on some of the E3 news that I missed because I was too drunk on just like hearing there was going to be a new Metroid and like being
That is a
unable to.
fair thing to be drunk on.
It
Yeah.
was hard for me to like read articles and watch videos because everything was blurry because again drunk on Metroid. Did they release pricing information for Advance Wars 1 and 2 and like have they talked about obviously cutting down to a single screen have they shown what that's going to look like? Are they, is it all just kind of be condensed into one
I'm going
situation?
to. I mean, so the original Advance Wars,
Did it
that
come out on
came
Game Boy
out.
Advance?
That was a Game Boy Advance game, sir.
Okay, yeah,
Both of
you're
them,
right.
1 and 2. Dual Strike was the one on DS.
Okay, that's what I couldn't remember if how far back they were. God, they're older than I thought too. Jesus.
Yeah, they're pretty up there, man. Like we have to face facts. We're getting up there. You know what I mean?
Just stop.
The Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is what they're calling it. That's cute. That is the full pot, sir. That is $60
$60.
and coming out this December.
Which I mean, two.
That's a good holiday release game. Yeah.
I I don't know.
You feel $60 is a little high?
Yeah, I
Nintendo does that. They
They
do
do.
remasters and they charge the full pot of whatever it is on that system. Like that remaster Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I think it's just called Reawakening. I don't know. I forget.
think
The
so.
one on the Switch. That one was also $60 and it's just like a very it's a remastered version of a relatively short Game Boy game. Like Game Boy game. So they do that. And I guess
Yeah.
Nintendo's just like, yeah, we can get away with it. Other remasters are like $40, $30.
See, that's one of those things where I that's a discussion for another time. But I say something like that you charge $40 for, get the hype built for it coming back, and then the next like the full fat version you charge $60 for. But hey, that's just me. Anyway,
Yeah, that would be cool if they if Nintendo contracted that way for it. Like let's pretend it sells well. Make a brand new Advance Wars game. Like make one that takes place after 3. We're going to say Dual Strike doesn't exist or something like that. I would be kind of cool with that.
yeah,
We're definitely going to pretend Days of Ruin doesn't exist because Days of Ruin pretends the other Advance Wars don't exist. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
all right. What else? What else? What else? What else did you see you liked?
Kazuya Mishima was announced for Smash. That's hot. I don't care what anyone says. A fucking Tekken character coming to Smash, that's hot. And he does a 10-hit combo? I love the announcement too, how he's just like killing a bunch of characters and throwing them off the mountainside.
That picture of him, I think he's holding Ryu over the edge,
Yeah.
and like everybody's like, "Yo, we gotta get this guy!" Oh man, that's good.
That was actually commissioned by Harada to tease the fighting game community because there's always a rivalry between Tekken and Street Fighter in the
Yeah.
FGC. I thought that was great. I thought that was hot. The entire announcement of that was hot. There's not much more to say about it. I'm 100% a DLC simp for Smash Ultimate. Every single DLC that they've released, I just okay, I'm just gonna pre-order the DLC.
As somebody who's only bought the free characters on Smash Ultimate and not really kept up because I'm a casual scrub, how much do the characters typically go for?
They're $6 to $7 each. I think they're $6 each. So yeah, I think I'm in the pot for more than the original price of the cartridge. Easy. No, I definitely am because I have all of Season 2, which was $35. So call me what you will. You are correct to do so, but damn, I love that series.
You're
God,
again, you're not as bad as our colleague when it comes to a certain looter shooter
Destiny.
based
Yeah.
in space, but you, you've
I,
it's always good when you've doubled the price of the original game through
They got me.
DLC.
They got me good. They've kept it rolling. They used a strategy that absolutely worked towards my lizard brain. I'm gonna own up to it. Yeah, I've opened my wallet and you guys got paid. Congratulations. But it's every single time. It's a brand new fighting game character that you can't unlock any other way. And I feel like I want to keep supporting that. And I know I can make every excuse in the book for like, buying DLC for a game I like. But it's a fighting game, and that's the only thing I got going for it. Is I like fighting games. Josh, you've known that for like decades now. I love fighting
Yes.
games. And Smash is like my dream fighting game. I will gladly give every single time they're like, you want $6 for a character? Absolutely, I want to pay you $6 for a character. Excuse me, let me pre-order the character.
Man, as
Let me help you.
jeez. Yeah, that's a problem.
All right, let's talk about the next game before I simp too hard for Sakurai.
We're just gonna
Uh,
call this, instead of E3 recap, it's just gonna be Ray's Simpcast.
Breath of the Wild 2 showed a minute and a half of footage. Um, yeah, it
It
looks like you're playing also a different character because one of those characters only kind of looked like Link. Was it Link? Was it the Link from Skyward Sword? I'm not sure, but parts of Breath of the Wild do take place in the sky now, so it's interesting. I have no idea what to make of it. They say the release date is 2022. I don't believe them. Not for a second.
yeah,
There's there has piece of trivia for the people listening and for Josh in case he didn't know it. There has never been a Zelda game that released on a console that when they give a release date released on time. That has never once happened. I don't believe it's going to happen this time either. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. Go ahead Nintendo or don't and it just release a better
do
game
you hear
for
do
it.
you hear that, Mr. Nintendo? Balls in
Mr.
your hand.
Nintendo. Mhm.
No, I I very much enjoyed Breath of the Wild. It's very good that we are getting that occasional sign of life, but much like the original Breath of the Wild, you know, I avoided a lot of the preliminary content because from the very early on they're like, hey, this is going to be a very different experience. Things are going to be different. Look at the grandiose nature. Not maybe I'm just forgetting because it was so long ago now, but I don't feel like there was a
Mhm.
ton of like really deep information about the game. So at this point I'm like, I don't really want much more detail about the game because I think part of the, and we all know my opinions on trailers and spoilers and whatnot anyway, but like part of the
Yeah.
appeal of Breath of the Wild was the exploration and the grandeur and finding things as you went along. And I kind of want I want the same experience about Breath of the Wild too. I want to know that it's on track or not. Give me a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I don't need a lot. Just knowing that it's gonna come out at some point and it's still getting worked on, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think so. So you're of the crowd that's like, hey, a minute and a half footage, that's more than I need. You could have given me 30 seconds and I'd have been satisfied.
Yep.
Okay, that's very fair. I completely respect that and I agree with that. Because yes, one of the worst things that the game can do is spoil its entire story, and one of the worst things that movies do nowadays is spoil their entire plot. If you watch too many trailers in a row, it's just you can just figure out how the movie goes.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, like I'll be honest, like the Metroid 5 trailer, I did not finish. I saw that it existed. I
mhm.
freaked out.
Yep.
I did not finish the video. I said, okay, that's all I need.
Ooh.
That's all I need to know. I saw
Oh,
the
oh,
suit.
okay.
I saw the baddie. I saw a little bit of the motion and mechanics, and I bounced out.
You didn't see like one of the newer mechanics that was added to it?
Nope. I saw
Okay,
somebody
well, I won't talk about it.
I saw somebody posting about it later,
Hmm.
because one thing we didn't talk about is how fucking toxic the Metroid community has been in some capacities. Um,
Yeah.
and so somebody was shit posting about it, and I saw it there. But other than that, I bounced out.
Yeah. The only thing I shared with Josh, which besides I shared like, memes about the fact that Metroid Dread, excuse my language, the fact that Metroid Dread fucking exists. I think that's an extreme enough case in and of itself. Can you believe that? Remember when we used to see that in like an EGM magazine? They're like, "Oh shit, Metroid Dread. Why is it called Dread? What's happening? Is Samus being chased?" And that, wow, can't believe it's real. Anyways, uh, the fan theory I shared with Josh was like, I can't believe we're bouncing back to Metroid. We just can't help ourselves. um, since Samus is now part Metroid, the Federation is hunting her down because we're like, excuse you, Samus. Remember when we gave you that genocide mission at SR 388 of kill all Metroids? That's part and parcel of a whole package. I can't help but notice you walking around looking a little sus.
Yeah. Remember when we said we wanted all the Metroids dead? Well, you know
Mm,
how everybody has been, jokingly calling you Metroid for a long time because it's funny.
mm-hmm.
But
It's not funny anymore. We gotta do you in. Deploy the robots. I don't know if that's a story, but if that actually ends up being like the lore of like the Federation says, nah, we gotta take out Samus. One, she's a threat. Two, she's a Metroid. And I'm gonna be honest, Josh. When you put it like that, I'm kind of with the Federation. They have a point. It's like that's a hard thing to argue. She can kill the X parasites. That's great. She does
if
that.
this game doesn't end with Samus on, like, in the head chair of the Galactic Federation, just
Oh,
like sitting there like, I run this shit now. Like, they're not
that,
being brave enough. They're not being brave
that's
enough.
how the series ends. Samus says, You want the X parasites dead? You leave me in charge, and don't you ever send another robot. Don't you ever get my name out of your mouth. First of all, don't you ever send a robot after me again." Just like maximum sass Samus Aran. Oh, that's how you end the series.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back to talking a bunch of other boring games. I'm joking. I'm joking. Um, Actually, this one I don't know if you got to play this one. Did you ever play the Mario and Rabbids game that came out like in 2017 from Ubisoft?
Kingdom Battle.
Yeah, Kingdom Battle.
Yes,
That's right.
I did not finish it, but I
Okay.
did play a bit of it.
Okay.
I enjoyed the game. It did not like I did not feel compelled to finish it, especially when other games came along. But
Yeah.
it was charming. I enjoyed what I played of it.
I ended up beating that game just cuz, well, honestly, I was on like vacation in 2017 a lot, and that is a great game to kind of travel with. It's baby's first XCOM is the way I kind of like reductively called it. And it was fine. It was good. Some parts of it were kind of weird. Like all the Rabbit characters, they were all just overpowered. It That was odd. Like I wanted to use like the classic Nintendo characters, and you had to have, I think,
You had to have
yeah,
one
if
of
I
them.
remember correctly, you had to have one classic Nintendo character on your team. Your team could not be entirely Rabbids. So I guess they kept that going. But yeah, yeah, it was fun. I'm glad there's a part two for people that want it because the game reviewed well. Apparently, it sold well. I don't know if I want to play it. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe if I'm really, really bored. Like I played XCOM. I played both XCOMs. I've played the first Mario and Rabbids. I don't know if I really want to play a second. But for the people that are excited for this game, good on you. I hope you
Yeah,
enjoy it.
I do believe there was a big fan base who like got really into it and played it a ton. Um, and the rabbits have been popular for a long time, so you always love a good
Mm,
little mashup crossover there. So yeah, unless the game like does something completely groundbreaking and reviews well, it's probably one that I will skip. But like you said, for those who are
yeah.
big, you know, Rabbids cross Mario fans, glad the game exists, and I'm sure that's one that was pretty, you know, an easy one to fill out the Switch library with, a release schedule with that doesn't take a ton of like. I mean, I don't want to sound reductive, but like it doesn't take a ton of creative effort to like make another entry in that style of game.
Yeah, it looks like they changed up a couple different things. Like Mario now has two guns as opposed to one.
Goddamn
All right,
right.
now
Give Mario more guns.
now I am being reductive. When we're talking about, okay, it was kind of a meme at first, like, oh fuck, Mario has a gun. But now it's like, well, what if he had two guns? It's like, it doesn't have as much impact. I just played a whole game where Mario had a gun. You know what I mean? Let's that's a good transition. Let's talk about some of the Ubisoft games that they announced. Also, Ubisoft, please correct your sexual harassment situation you got going on. We haven't forgotten about it. Please do something about that. That would be good. Also, please stop crunching your devs to death. All right, we're going to talk about Ubisoft. Uh, Ubisoft got a contract to make the next 3 Avatar games based on the next 3 Avatar movies. Can I just say, it? I saw this on Twitter, so I'm gonna steal it, and I forget who said it. Like, I wish I had that much confidence to say, oh yeah, the next 3 movies in this series that most people just forgot about existed, Avatar. And I'm talking about the Avatar with the blue aliens. We're going to make 3 more movies about them. We're so confident those 3 movies will do great that we're going to have 3 whole other video games based on it. And they're movie-based video games too. So they actually announced Avatar 2, 3, and 4 at a E3 press event. That's amazing to me. Josh, do you care about Avatar?
Not in the slightest. I've never
Okay.
even seen the movie.
Really? That's extra shocking to me.
The extent of my Avatar knowledge, I've
Hmm.
there's like one scene that I've seen like 2 times somehow. Um, I know the dude goes into like a suit to get into the blue guy and go and like do stuff, and I've walked through the like Avatar world at Animal Kingdom in Disney, and it is very
Yeah.
pretty and cool, and that is the extent of my Avatar knowledge. And
Wait, is it a Disney property now?
I don't know that it's a Disney property, but I think that they've at least had some sort of partnership to build the world of Avatar in the Animal Kingdom and like have a couple rides there and whatnot.
That's, huh. Yeah, I just looked at that Pandora World, made it in 2017. Uh, okay, next question. Is Avatar owned by Disney? Oh, wait. Huh. The Disney company bought 20th Century Studios, so technically,
Oh yeah,
yes.
yep.
That's awful. I have nothing positive to say about that. Oh no. Oh no. Please, House of Mouse, stop, please. Okay, that depresses me. We're gonna move on.
I
Next
don't care
Ubisoft
about
game.
I don't care
No, go.
about Avatar, but Pandora Land is pretty cool looking.
Have you ever seen Pocahontas?
Yes,
You've technically seen Avatar.
I've heard that before.
It's space Pocahontas. There's no other way to really put it. Like Disney Pocahontas, not the actual story. Uh, Next, Far Cry 6 got like hours upon hours of footage and gameplay of that. And I'm not kidding. There's a 2-hour like gameplay and reveal video you can watch on YouTube of this game. You'll get as much Far Cry 6 information as you can hope to get. It takes place in Cuba. It's got a brand new bad guy. It also they announced DLC to where you can play as any of the bad guys from previous Far Cry games. So there you go. With maybe Josh, do you like Far Cry? I remember you played the fourth one and said, if I remember correctly, it's too similar to the third one.
I think that was Mike.
Mike
Um,
said, okay.
because I've never played any Far Cry.
Really? Okay, maybe it was Mike then. All
Yeah,
right.
so I mean, I've been interested in the Far Cries, and I think I have Far Cry 3 downloaded on Steam or something, but I've never launched it or played it. So, um, I
In my personal opinion, if you all the latest Far Cry's are based off the formula that 3 goes on. So if you were to play Far Cry 3 and then you play Far Cry Blood Dragon, it's DLC that's based on 80s sci-fi tech chic.
Yeah.
I think you've gotten all of the Far Cry experience of the last like several years, over the last decade or two, honestly. Uh, they also announced Far Cry Primal 2. I This is not to say anything negative about the devs. I forgot Far Cry Primal 1 existed. I didn't play that game. I had zero interest, and when they said Primal 2, I was like, "Oh,
Wait. Okay, hold up.
yeah.
Is there really a Primal 2?
Yeah, yeah."
I Ray, I said that as a joke. Like, there's no.
Let me look it up. Primal 2. Uh, 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 uh. Oh, no, no, I'm confused. I saw something earlier. Far Cry New Dawn is technically a follow-up to it's this article I saw off of VentureBeat, is a follow-up to Primal and Blood Dragon in the fact that it's a brand new type of story.
Okay, that makes more sense. I I
Never mind.
I
I'm mistaken.
I made a joke when there, in a chat with some friends of ours as the speculation and showcases were on and Far Cry got announced. I made a Far Cry Primal 2 joke, and um for a second I thought that had actually happened, and I was like, oh my god, A, I'm clairvoyant, and B, nobody who asked for that.
You're absolutely right. That was my mistake. I thought there was a Primal 2. Nope. Primal 1. All right. That makes more sense because I completely keep forgetting Primal 1 even exists. And that's not on the devs' fault. I just have zero interest in playing a caveman game. Just none.
I
All right.
I also just, like, I don't know, and I don't know that many people who are like super into Far Cry anymore. I don't know who these games are for or
It's
who's
got a
buying.
community. It's definitely got a pretty decent sized community of people that like those types of open world games.
Teach their own.
That if you like open world first person shooters where you progressively get stronger and you're dealing with a maniac psychopath that is the big bad of the game, then that is the series for you. That's typically what
That's
all the
fair.
last like games since like 2010, 2012 have been about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a market. Uh I forgot who made this game, but I'll transition to the next game called Redfall. Mike, oh, it's Bethesda. Okay, we can start talking about Bethesda games. It looks like a what do you call that? Asymmetric shooter. But it's made by Arcane Studios, and you're taking out vampires.
There you go.
Yeah. Made by the same team that made Dishonored and Prey. You pick from a group of heroes, and you go vampire hunting.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
I've got not much more to say about that. Asymmetric shooters definitely have their place. Me and the boys are still waiting for the asymmetric shooter. What is the new Aliens one that's coming out? Aliens Fireteam. Still
Oh
waiting for
yeah.
that. Oh,
Someday.
okay. But before we get into the big Bethesda event, there was a giant game that I'm actually looking forward to playing, and I'm gonna give it like a month or two on the back burner just to let it cool off. Josh, they announced the next Battlefield game. Now that's a game that me and all the boys need to go ahead, log online, and play a lot of Battlefield. Tons of Battlefield. This was during the toxic Xbox 360, Xbox Live days. We'd all play a lot of Battlefield 3. Goodness gracious.
A fuck ton of Battlefield 3. Mike and I back in the day, we me and him were an unstoppable tank crew. Like, if you got me in the driver's seat and Mike on the gun, boy howdy, we would run train. And we had the perfect, like, all the right setup. Mike would engineer, and, like, oh, it was perfect. It was amazing. Oh, I cannot wait to bring that back.
I was hoping for 2143, and other people are just hoping for like just a new modern Battlefield. Everyone's done with World War II and Battlefield 1, the World War 1 game. There is no need for a follow-up to that game. I think we can all agree. Battlefield 1 has said and done everything it needs to do. So they met the community in the middle, and there is a Battlefield 2142. There's still some futuristic weapons, kind of. It's kind of like, yeah, what if like 20 years from now, what will the weapons look like? Not much changes. But you get wingsuits, you get some new gunships, and the trailer is great because it actually leans so hard into the skid of like, we know what sort of ridiculousness you guys are gonna do. Here's some guy jumping out of an F-35 Lightning, firing an anti-air missile at the plane that was chasing him, and hopping back into the same F-35. We all know what
Yep.
kind of antics you guys get up into.
Yeah,
It was honestly one of the best Battlefield trailers I've seen in a long time.
yeah, the like, okay, you don't need to advertise Battlefield as this straight buttoned up like war experience. War is real, like, because nobody watches that kind of content. When they go and they look up Battlefield highlights, they're going on, they're looking up those ridiculous kind of like, oh, I'm gonna fall from a helicopter and then I'm gonna throw some C4 out onto the ground and let it rain down on a Jeep that's driving underneath me, while I also then stinger this a jet that was following me, and then somehow I'm gonna get back into my helicopter, blow both up, and then keep going on, drop in on the objective and capture it. Like, that's what we're looking for, and to acknowledge that and go in on that in your advertising, perfection.
I want to bring to note the original Battlefield 2. Original Battlefield 2. It's just called Battlefield 2. Of like how tight the hitboxes in that game was. There is a video online, and I might have to post it to you later. Of in Battlefield 2, someone fires an anti-vehicle rocket. I think it was just an RPG at a guy that is a gunner in a helicopter. And the rocket passes through the helicopter, past the gunner, and just out the other side because the doors are open. And I'm like, you know what? That's hitboxing I can appreciate. But it's like ridiculous moments like that. I used to have a roommate, like way back when Battlefield 2 came out, that I watched him put a bunch of C4 onto a jet that was on the tarmac, and he just waited in the bushes until like the enemy player took off with the jet. And when it was up in the apex of its flight, he just activated it. And you just saw it blow up in midair. Just the silly shit like that. You love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. Also, they're really hyping up in their gameplay reveal and in that original trailer that came out like a couple weeks ago. Like, there's going to be tornadoes in this game. Like, oh, why? And then they explained why in their gameplay reveal. Josh, it is the PC version, the PS5, and the Xbox One version will have 64 on 64 matches, and we were like, that's PS3 mag levels of players, and I am terrified because 32 on 32, really good fun, lots of chaos. I have played the mag. I have played a full mag matchup where it's like
Wasn't it
well,
one?
mag went up to 256.
Yeah, I would say 128 versus 128 technically.
Yeah, I have played that, and I have played the one below that, the 64 and 64. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys have tried that, but that is, you can't coordinate when there's that many people at you. That is, you spawn and you immediately find cover because there are tons of people looking for any reason to shoot in your like immediate geolocation. So I hope the maps are big. They're saying that each map is going to be 8 square kilometers. That's insane to me, but I hope that works out. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to playing it.
I'm also interested to see, because I did see that this is still coming to Xbox One and PS4, but scaled down to 64 players total. So I also wonder if they're going to cut down the maps for those as well.
They would have to. You remember when they released Battlefield 4? I think, yeah, it was BF4 on like the PS3 and Xbox 360. Was it Battlefield 4? I forget which one it was. Now I can't remember. No, I'm sorry. It was Battlefield 3 they released on the Xbox 360. And yeah, I know you definitely played that. But yeah, they scaled down the player size. They're like, we can't handle 32 on 32, so you guys are 16 on 16, 32 player maps. And they scaled down the size of the maps drastically to compensate for that.
Mm.
So I imagine the exact same thing is going to happen here. Um, let's go to the next game. Well, last notes on Battlefield 2042. If you pre-order the game, you'll be invited to the beta. I don't trust Dice Games in the first week of launch. I've learned my lesson. I've been burned too many times. I don't know what you're gonna do, Josh. I'm not diving in on the first week. I'm gonna dive in I'm gonna give him a month. Give give him a month to figure out everything that's
I'm.
gonna go wrong.
I can't decide. There's a part of me that wants to just go in for it.
Mhm.
Okay. This is also something I need to look into because as a Xbox um, Game Pass subscriber, I get
Mhm.
access to EA Play
Oh yeah.
Basic as part of my subscription. I don't know that there's a way that I can like say, okay, can I send EA $5 more and bump up to the, premium tier, because this is one of those things that may make me go ahead and say like, okay, I could bump up to that premium tier because it's only an extra however many dollars on top of what I'm already spending.
Mhm.
Because in that case, I'm already pay like I've got the subscription, so it's already there, so I can just jump in, no harm, no foul. Um, I definitely won't pre-order it. Like I'm not like, oh, I need to play the beta and get in on it, but um, maybe a day one for me. It may be a like you getting in a month once the whole squad is coordinated. Like okay, this is the weekend we're gonna get it and we're gonna play it together. Let's all let's all buy it on Thursday, download it Thursday and Friday during the day, and then Friday night we're going in.
Squad up. Let's go in with the basic weapons. Let's go in with the basic kit. We messing some people up, and then we all get sniped by a jet.
Yep.
Immediately, just be like a jet that's been playing for a month straight. It's just like, oh look, there's a bunch of noobs down there. Hold on, I got my tactical. It's an A10 Warthog that's just like this is meant for tanks, but that also means it works on people.
No, Ray. It'd be even more ridiculous that it's somebody flying an A10 with somebody literally sitting on top of it with a sniper rifle. Pow, ching, ching, pow, getting
You know,
all.
I would be happy about that because I'm like, ah, yes, yes,
this
this is actually what I signed up for.
this is the battlefield I know and love.
No, the A10 Warhog was flung by a tornado, and there's a guy that's sniping off the wing of it, and you're like, yeah, this was the $60 I spent. That's exactly right. Yes,
This is home.
yeah, we're back in it, ladies
Boys
and
are home.
gentlemen. I can't wait. Um, while we're talking about games that we're probably gonna wait on, Halo Infinite, the multiplayer of it is going free to play. Yeah, great, awesome. You
I
can
mean,
just
I'll
download it.
I'll get Halo Infinite as a Xbox Game Pass subscriber, so why not?
Yeah,
I don't I haven't played 4 and 5 because those aren't on Game Pass yet. So
you you should play 4. I would avoid 5. I would actually YouTube video 5. And this
it,
is not to like say bad things about the developers at 343 Industries, but I absolutely will not recommend anyone to play 5.
I mean,
It
it's one of
is.
those if something were to happen and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, they're available like right, hype for launch," but I haven't heard any like information or rumors about those, so it's like, well, you
If
know,
you play if you get it for free, play 5 because I don't you shouldn't spend that much money on it. Also, you could beat it inside of a short Saturday. It is a extremely short game. Like 5 hours to beat or something like
at
that.
this
It's
point, whenever the story, the actual like story of Halo Infinite launches, if 4 and 5
Mhm.
aren't available, I will just watch videos and get up to speed and play it because like, you know, it's
4
a
is
Halo.
really good though. The story in 4 is not great. The story in 5 is somehow even worse. But the gameplay in 4 is really solid. I really liked it. Five went too far. 5 is not Halo. It is Halo. It is different. It is too different.
Is it too Call of Duty-fied?
You do aim down sights in it, and that's always weird in a Halo game. Not gonna lie, that's
They
say
only
what you
really
will.
did that in Reach, right?
They started that in Reach, yeah, and then I think 4 carried it on with like all weapons, and then 5 leans into that skid. 5 gives you a bunch of superpowers that you could just activate at certain points, and I'm like, am I still playing Halo? I don't know. It, but anyways, next game. Josh, since you brought up the Xbox Game Pass,
Yeah,
uh,
this is the big like this is the big thing I wanted to talk about is like,
yeah, I'll give you go into it then.
you know, this is where normally, maybe the tech minute would start, but talking about the future of Xbox and what's next for Xbox in general and Game Pass and stuff that I've been talking about a lot, and speculating on is what comes next.
Hmm.
And honestly, it's a multi-fronted endeavor from Microsoft and from Xbox. So they did confirm, like, hey, yes, our development team are working on, the next generation of hardware. We are developing new hardware and whatnot moving forward. But they also said, hey, we're working with TV partners right now to put Xbox Play Anywhere Game Pass onto TVs, onto potential like Roku like streaming devices, which honestly like makes so much sense. Um I have not actually uh gotten into trying any of the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff yet. But I am a Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, and I am going to be traveling soon, so I am hoping to give that a shot in the near future. But for somebody like me, being able to go out and buy a TV in the next year or so that has already built in it Netflix, Prime Video, all those apps, and then I can just hook my controller up to it and play an Xbox game through my TV over the cloud. Like that just makes so much sense. And it's one of those things like I will never have to buy an Xbox ever again. I will keep my $15 a month subscription in perpetuity. I will play the games I want to play on my PC or on my TV or where, on my laptop, wherever I'm at. But I don't know. It is one of those things I've been talking about for a little while, and I feel slightly vindicated to get to see that, like, yeah, we're going to have another Xbox, but, like, no, but Xbox is going to be in your TV, like, real soon.
Yeah, for the people that want that, that's great. I am still very much a buy physical, especially for games that you really want. Because I'm sorry to say, and still working in the game industry, uh, I still don't trust like hardware publishers to not completely screw the pooch at times and just say, yeah, that game was accessible, but what if it wasn't? What if we just removed your ability to ever play it? And that still gives me pause. Of course, I'm talking about someone that like still will go out of my way, and if it's a game I'm like, I'm gonna hit this game, quit it, and then never worry about it again. Like what I'm doing with Resident Evil 8, which I'm actually really close to the finish line for that game. I know we didn't talk about what games we were playing at the start of the podcast because Metroid needed to be talked about. Damn it! Almost finished with Resident Evil 8. Really fun game if you like horror games. It is. I know a lot of you thinking like, oh yeah, that's the game where you get chased by the giant 9 foot tall vampire lady. I mean, yes, that absolutely does happen, and if you're into that, trust me, they give you a lot to get into. Uh, but I, it is still a horror game. There is a section of the game that I described to Anna. She's off in the corner. I described it to her, and she said, "I am now very uncomfortable. I want to go to the corner and just chill for a couple of minutes." And I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't have to play it. It is still very much a horror game." Okay, moving forward.
So
Speaking of,
you
go
know,
ahead.
here's one of the areas where I kind of like disagree a little bit, and it's like I get what you're saying,
Mhm.
but for me, like, yes, I have a Super Nintendo somewhere, and I do have like a cartridge of Super Metroid, and I will
Huh?
cherish that forever. But like at some point, the battery in that is gonna die,
It
and
will,
like
yeah.
the stuff in the Super Nintendo will break, and like yeah, I might be able to get another chip and put it in, and there are like reproduction situations that I can buy and put together and solder and all that jazz. But like for the most part, if I want to play Super Metroid, I'm gonna play it on here, and I'm gonna emulate it, and that's enough. And you know, I don't know,
There, there,
like
no, there's a large argument to be made about the emulation scene being a great repository for games because a lot of publishers just simply don't care about. You quick story while we're talking about this. You know why we didn't get a remaster of Final Fantasy VIII until like a couple years ago, like a year or two ago? Is because Square Enix actually deleted all the code for it. And so they had to take a disc and some of the files that were stored on for the Steam release, which was the PC version, and they had to remake Final Fantasy VIII off of that. Companies simply don't care about like game preservation. It is up to us, the users,
yeah.
the consumers, to do it because the companies have abandoned us. Like, right now. Imagine you, Josh. You want to play Deadpool, a game that came out like I don't know a long time ago. Honestly, you can't. There's no legal way you could play the video game Deadpool, even unless you find a physical copy, which is selling for quite a bit. Jim Sterling had like a whole video about like how Nintendo Game Boy Advance games have just skyrocketed in price because people now realize there's no other way to get these games, and Nintendo's not re-releasing these thousands of games or making them accessible. There's no preservation status on them, so if you want to preserve these games, if you want Final Fantasy VI for the Game Boy Advance, which I now have to cherish my copy, that's gonna set you back like $100+ the Game Boy Advance isn't even the best version. It's just like one of the better versions. Anyways, the long and short, what I'm getting at is like if that option is there, great. I'm glad for people that want it. Um, I'm glad that also Microsoft announced like, don't worry, we're still going to release physical console versions. Like, good, we can have the best of both worlds. You guys clearly got the money to keep throwing at that. Great, no complaints there. Um, you want to talk about the next item, or do you have a rebuttal?
No, there will always be that back and forth. But I think Microsoft and Xbox's philosophy of we want to put our games wherever you want them is the right move forward, and I think that is one of those things that just makes gaming more accessible and more flexible for people, you know.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with like making it like the accessibility standard. I just also want like the hard copy standard.
And
Yeah,
honestly, like
yeah,
for
I want the bus to. I'm being greedy right now. I'm saying,
yes,
hey, if you guys want to make the physicalized version also available like online with a subscription, cool. That's great. That's awesome. I actually have no issue with that. My concern was like if it's a digital only version and you can only access it with a subscription, like the Stadia model. Basically, I'm saying like
yeah,
the Stadia model needs to die in a fire. Is what I'm
I
getting
agree. And the
at.
Stadia, like I think Stadia would be more, and I think this. I think we've talked about this, but I think honestly, Stadia would be more effective if it were a just straight Xbox Game Pass. You pay $15 a month and you get access to the Stadia library. I would imagine that is more of a publisher decision because I think that would eat the lunch of so many other sales if it was like, hey, you get this gaming streaming service for
Hmm.
15 bucks a month and it's all of these titles that are curated across platforms and whatnot. Like, I would imagine Google would prefer to do that and they just can't.
I mean, that's
Xbox,
exactly what Xbox Game Pass does, though.
but Xbox has the benefit of they own a lot of the properties on there and then have
Okay.
some of these relationships where they can kind of get that on. But, you know,
Well,
Google's.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying Google has to work as an outsider in the game industry, quote unquote, with a lot of different publishers and say, like, hey, we want to sell your game on our streaming only platform. And I'm like, well, yeah, but
No, so it's a money issue. That's all it is. And let's not say like what near trillion-dollar company Google doesn't have the money to just say, "Hey, how much money do you think you're going to make in the next like 2 years off of this title?" We'll just say Ubisoft. Oh, probably $1 billion. Cool. Here's $1 billion. We want to host this game on our service. How does that sound? And Ubisoft would be foolish to say, "Okay, yeah, sure." There's a there's a Lillian dog in the background. Hi, Lillian. But speaking of like outdated tech, Josh, this topic I have like written here in my E3 notes. I just wanted to. This is just me rubbing it in, and I admit that I'm about to be a shitbag for just a second.
hit me.
Josh, there were no VR games announced at E3. I'm just I'm just throwing that stick of dynamite out there. I think I think it's very dead, like VR gaming. I think the VR experience is still there. Like I went to an arcade.
But I thought I just saw like somebody announced as like a new VR headset not that long ago.
There's a new version of Oculus, but it's also weird. You absolutely need a Facebook account to use Oculus.
Well, yeah.
That's weird to me. I don't like that, and I do want an Oculus, but I don't know how
I
much of a
mean,
deep dive
Facebook
I'm going
owns
to.
Oculus, so of course that was going to
Yeah, of
happen.
course.
Like, I know they said
Right.
that wasn't going to happen, but like, come on. That was always going to happen.
um, yeah, no VR games announced. Like the PlayStation has a VR headset, PlayStation VR, and they didn't announce one. Not even support for it. I don't think RE8, like Resident Evil 8, the newest game, is supported on VR headset. Actually, I'm gonna look that up right now. Resident Evil 8 VR. Maybe I'm wrong. Resident Evil 8 in VR, Oculus, Resident Evil 8 VR isn't happening. That can't be right. Apparently you have to force it through. Is there VR support? Does it have VR support? Can you play it in VR? Okay, so no. The answer is a quick no. There's a way to do it. You're basically forcing it, but there's no easy way to make VR happen on Resident Evil 8, the newest first-person horror game, which Resident Evil 7, I'm told, thrives in VR, but they're like, nah, we're done. So I don't know, man. I think it's gone. I think you could put the nail in the coffin with the lack of support with like the latest horror game. Who wouldn't, if you have a VR headset and you want to take advantage of it, who wouldn't want to see Giant Vampire Lady in VR? This was their chance to maintain it.
That is
With
fair. That is fair.
without it, it is DEAD dead.
Dead.
Um, that's all I wanted to put forward with that. I did see VR experiences because the only game I would buy a VR headset for would be Beat Saber, but I have not justified myself spending $400 for just a copy of Beat Saber yet. But I do like Beat Saber. I've played it at arcades. It is fun. If you have a VR headset, you should get Beat Saber if you haven't already. Let's face it, you already have it because it's one of the very few games that you could buy on VR.
Okay. You know, I do feel like this podcast is coming to an end. But there's one alarming thing And
I got two more games I want to talk about
two
then.
more games.
Just two
Okay,
more.
hit me up.
Okay. Uh, if I can only pick two of this giant list, one, Elden Ring, the next Dark Souls type style game, Souls-like game. Mike said to go ahead and put this on the dispatch in all caps. Elden Ring. I have done that. I've done my bit. Uh, it, it's another Souls-like game by FromSoft. It looks good. It has a scripted story written by George R.R. Martin. Uh, coming out in 2022. The trailer looks great. And finally, oh man, if I had to pick one more game to pick on here. Okay, you know what? Let's go for it. Josh, do you like Final Fantasy?
Um, I've been known to enjoy the fantasy that is the last one. Yes.
Okay, cool. Did you see the trailer for Final Fantasy uh Stranger in Paradise?
No, I did not.
Okay, you should watch that trailer. It is just three dudes hunting for the big bad of the first Final Fantasy game, whose name is Chaos. And the main character, his his whole shtick is I hate the guy Chaos, and he every single scene is like, "Where's Chaos? I'm hunting Chaos. I'm here to kill Chaos." And it's like, oh no, he's super one note, and it is a Ninja Theory game, I think it is. I'd have to double check that. Don't quote me on that. It's an action game. It's an action platformer game, much like Devil May Cry, where the guy is very pissed off that chaos exists, the bad guy Chaos.
So is it like a retelling of one? Is it just like a new experience using
I
the
have
characters at first? Because honestly,
apparently.
this is also making me think like, how have we gone this long without like, yeah, we've had some refreshes of some of those early Final Fantasy games, but how have they not like really done remakes of like the first six Final Fantasy games?
Oh crap! Now I have to talk about that. There was an announcement of a pixel remaster of the first six Final Fantasy games. And all they did was they showed I'm not kidding you, 30-second trailer of pixel art in the background, and they said we've done a pixel refresh to all of these games, and it's like, is that it? Is that all you did?
You mean the games that have already kind of been refreshed and put on phones over the last like 10 years?
Yeah, and I I was like I didn't know how to take that. Like I would love. Okay, do what you did to Final Fantasy VII remake. Do that to Final Fantasy VI. That's asking the
Yeah.
moon back.
Yes. I want to see somebody in fucking HD suplex a goddamn train.
Saban does suplex command on a train in 1080p, 60 frames per second. Yeah, who doesn't want to see that? Absolutely.
I'll even just take, yes, I want that, but I'll just take like Steam and Switch versions of one. Like, give me the Switch versions of 1 through 6.
That's part of that announcement.
Okay.
The Pixel remaster. So I guess it's just that it's just cleaning up the art. It to me, it's like you didn't really clean it up so much as you just made it slightly different.
It's like, oh, hey, you're gonna go from playing it on a 3.5-inch screen on an iPhone 4 and a Samsung Galaxy S3 to like a 6 or 8-inch screen on a
on your
tablet or
Switch.
your Switch. So
It wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, the last one I want to talk about for real is like Metal Slug Tactics. I like Metal Slug games. They're fun. There's a tactics version of it coming out. It looks great. Oh, squeezing this in right under the finish line, like Geordie LaFour is sliding under the doors. Um, Hades is coming to PS4, PS5, and all the Xbox consoles. The Hades Game of the Year edition. So if you have not played Hades yet, you should definitely play
fix it.
one of Unscripted Gaming's Game of the Year. Hades. Josh, you beat Hades, didn't you?
I have not like 100%ed it, but I did like I killed Hades and like I think I got like through half of the completion runs to like see what
Mhm.
happens. So
Yeah,
I've
you have to kill Hades 9 times, and then you get the the actual ending of the game.
I think I've done it like 4 times, so
I mean, good news, he doesn't get okay, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. He doesn't get any more difficult with each time that you kill him. Like the runs don't get any more difficult. They're just like, yeah, just do it 9 more times.
it's mostly the fact that I lost access to the Switch, you know, because
Oh,
my
yeah, it's become
it
an Animal
is
Crossing machine.
it is an Animal Crossing machine more than anything.
Yeah, you say that, and I can hear Animal Crossing being played in the living room from here. I keep hearing the woohoo type of noise.
The last thing I'll say is like honestly
Okay.
the only thing I really other noticed, and again this is you still trying to catch up on everything being Metroid drunk, is like wasn't a lot of Sony news that I recall hearing.
Huh, you're right.
Weird, right? Like, you know,
You bring up an interesting point. I think they're busy trying to actually sell a PS5. As someone that actually wants a PS5, I'm unable to get one still, so maybe they should work on that
yeah.
before they keep announcing games for the PS5.
Well, that
As a
is
matter
like, you know, at what point does Sony start to go down the path that Xbox does? Like, are they in those kinds of discussions and discovery that Xbox has been over the last few years of like making their stuff more available, or are they gonna just double down on like we are a console company, like, you know, and maybe this is the discussion in a few years, but like when you go quiet like that and you've got your competitor going like, yo, we're gonna be on TV soon, I don't know.
I I think Microsoft is doing the smart thing in that they are in the business of helping their games get made and just giving you the ability to access it. Because I will gladly not buy an Xbox Series X, but I have subscribed to the Xbox Game Pass anytime I wanted to play one of their games. Like Control, I played and completed that recently. I don't have an Xbox. I did have an Xbox One. I sold it after I beat a couple Halo games on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Xbox Game Pass, I keep subscribing to for different games. Oh, yeah, I guess we would be remiss to not say this. Starfield, I'm sorry. Bethesda announced that game. It has a 2022 release date, November 11th, 2022. I mean, 2021? Was it 21 or 22? One of the two. Uh, it's an Xbox exclusive, but it's also a PC exclusive, so just play it on that.
Hey Ray,
Mm.
you kind of ruined my my segue, but I want to do it anyway.
Okay, go for a segue.
You know other things you should be subscribed to?
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Unscripted gaming
hmm
all over the internet. You know where you can find it? First and foremost, unscriptedgaming.com. But you can get us on YouTube. You can get us on the Facebook at Unscripted Game Podcast. You can get us on Twitter at unscript_gaming. You can get us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Apple, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Get us in your ears, get us in your eyes, get us under your fingertips. Make sure you're here for when we do actually get Sony news, maybe someday eventually. And also, definitely be subscribed, because in a few short months, you're going to have a lot of Metroid content, like a lot of Metroid content. So get ready for that. Thank you for listening to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Josh.
My name is Ray.
Peace. I'm going to remember to press the button this time. Ha ha.
Oh, yes.